Welcome to the Sinuano podcast. You know, I'm a nerd. Did you know that? I'm a nerd.
No way. I don't believe it.
I like robots. And I like animation. And I like, animation about robots. And there's this movie called Wild Robot. It's one of those DreamWorks movies.
Yep. Coming out September 27th. And
Yes.
and it's animated film, as Burk said, directed by Chris Sanders. A really great voice cast. And it's funny, like a lot of animated films if we're thinking Pixar, they kind of have the same look. We're sort of used to that, or some of the lesser versions of that. But I liked going back maybe 20 years to a Brad Bird animated film called The Iron Giant, which I thought was just beautifully done, beautifully animated 2D animation.
Right.
And I think Wild Robot maybe captures that a little bit. Maybe it's more 3D. I don't know. It just has a different feel to it, which gets me excited because I'm kind of bored with the Pixar stuff as far as just the looks, regardless of the story. Anyway, so I'm excited to see this.
But I have to say, in defense of Pixar, they really do. There's a little bit more recent that there's a few hit and miss kind of things, but some of their stuff that may not look like it's going to be good. Like a great example is the movie Cars, which looks so stupid. I can't even tell you. Cars and all that. But when you watch it, you realize these are the people carrying the torch for the old styles, the old feel of animation from its classic days. Maybe not quite up to the standards of Bugs Bunny, Warner Brothers kind of stuff, but kind of. And they put a lot of work into the stories, the characters. And we were talking about Inside Out a while back, and you guys have not seen it. It's beautifully made. It has a lot of heart and feel to it. It's also very complicated. It's not something I think a lot of kids are going to get. I think it's more for young adults and older young adults. This one maybe is that. I don't know.
But it is a DreamWorks thing, and I'm excited to see it. We can talk about it after we watch the trailer, but it looks fun. So let's check out the trailer for The Wild Robot.
All right.
Okay, everybody quiet. Mark, stop talking. All right.
Incident report. At 0300 hours, a number of Universal Dynamics robots were lost in a typhoon. Chance of recovery is unlikely.
Do you need assistance? Aggression detected. I see your problem. Processing language.
You need to learn how things work on this island.
Hello.
Goslings in print on the first thing they see.
Which would be you?
You're his mother now.
I do not have the programming.
No one does. He needs to swim and fly.
Swimming's easy. I can teach him the way my mom taught me. Swim! He's a runt. His chances aren't super good.
I will protect him.
He's got to leave this island by fall.
Right, Bill?
It is more dangerous for him than anyone else. But he has a chance. If where his wings end, his heart can pay the balance.
You are not easy to find. You are defective. I feel fine. You should not feel anything at all.
Mom?
No!
Sometimes, to survive, we must become more than we were programmed to be. I will protect all of you.
You are ordered to return home.
I am already home, and I am a wild robot.
So who was Pedro Pascal in that? I was wondering. I see that kind of stuff and I instantly want to cry. Like I'm just crying through that whole thing. I just like trying not to cry because animal stuff. It looks so good. I like that they have reasons the animals talk, like that, processing language. Like it's not just like, oh, we get to understand it. Like that was very cool. I like how it started getting mossy, like becoming wild. It actually looked really good.
Reminded me of the vibe of a lot of the Miyazaki animation, where Miyazaki is so environmental and so empathetic to the plight of animals and environment, and I love that when they put that into young people's entertainment, because it sort of plants that idea. It's not like an indoctrination kind of thing. It's sort of like, it's good to take care of the environment. It's good to be kind, and to the world, and to take, I will take care of you. That's a beautiful thing to say.
I loved it.
I thought it was very the animation looks really great. It looks like a really compelling story. I did see a previous trailer and it didn't have a lot of that stuff. So this was like new footage. It seems like a very complete story and very touching and sweet, and has all those, so it's something I actually am looking forward to watching.
I know, it looked really cute. I like that, the robot saves the duckling, but then the duckling has to leave, and I'm very worried about the poor goose or duck or whatever he is. I'm very worried. I don't like it.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm very stressed.
There's something that, to sort of point out the obvious but sometimes overlooked genius of the early Disney movies. What I really love, I know people probably haven't seen this since they were tiny kids, but there's a movie made by Disney called Bambi, which is a brilliant film. It's
impossible. First 5 minutes impossible to watch.
Yeah. No, but
impossible.
But what it does when you watch it is it doesn't I don't know, it doesn't sugarcoat the idea of nature. You kind of think Bambi does. You think it probably would if you thought about Bambi if you haven't seen it. But Bambi is a harsh movie. Bambi is about the reality of nature and about the reality of animals. I mean, there's
survival of the fittest and Darwin and all that sort of stuff.
And how animals are, it's like Bambi's with the mother, but the father is away. The father is always just a silhouette on the hillside. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, that's the way it is in animal world. The father doesn't stick around sometimes, and then sometimes the hunters come, and sometimes the fire comes, and it's harsh, and sometimes somebody is not here anymore, and so when you do that, when you do a nature-based film for young people, you really do have to, there's a responsibility to have that kind of, the downside, in other words.
Right. It's not all glory. It's simple, like a lot of the really G-rated sort of, bubblegummy movies are, that are just like, oh, that's not reality.
Right. There's conflict and there's death, and there's also that idea of leaving the mom, and as a little kid, I remember things like Bambi and Dumbo were so harrowing to me as a kid, because, the worst thing that could possibly happen to you as a kid is if your mother gets taken away. You get taken away from your mother. You lose your parent. And that happens in the animals world, and
well, especially if they're a runt, a lot of times the parents leave the runt. And that seems like sort of might have been maybe hatched late, so the mother and the other ducklings had gone, so that's why the duckling is by itself. And that, they would find, like, even if you're a runt or maybe not the pick of the litter, you still have a right to live and have a good life, and that's kind of the robot saves it. I like.
And they have to do certain things, like she said, one of the ducks, I think, says she has to leave this island by fall. It's like, that's what we have to do, that we have to migrate, we have to go. And that's one of the things about Bambi that I thought was so brilliant, was there's a part in there that I can't remember specifics, but it implies the idea that Bambi is just one of a continuous cycle. It comes back around after Bambi grows up and dies, another Bambi is born, and another Bambi, and the endless cycle of migration. And it seems like, if you put that stuff into a story like this, along with the funny stuff and along with the cute stuff and the uplifting things. That's where the magic, I think, is in the storytelling about nature and things like that.
And here too, this is a robot that's learning and finds empathy and love from the animals, which as opposed to just being around, which is really sweet.
Yeah,
that's
and it's
really
like the merging of the tech and wildlife, like tech and nature, and it's a way that it can be, protective versus destructive.
Right.
I mean, it's a message we could try. Like having a robot like that out here is actually helping nature versus destroying the world, which is what most of it's doing.
And it's about, I think there's an allegory here about learning in general, just the idea of learning. Like
outside yourself. Yeah.
If you think about something and you don't know much about it, you don't care much about it. But if you go out into nature and you see it, like you, Kathy, going on your trips that you take to places like Africa and South America.
Animals.
Yeah. No, you do that because you want to go and be in nature. And when you do that, you become a better person,
and you become invested in nature. Because
you understand it.
It makes you feel like you're part of a bigger whole when you see more parts of the world. And I think that's a good message too. Is that even if something's different, if it's not your same species, if you're a robot and someone else is a fox or like whatever it is, you can still all get along and help each other. And that's a good message.
Kind of that idea of a person who's never really spent much time in nature, going into nature and being surrounded by it and learning. That's what the robot's doing. The robot is reprogramming itself with this new information. And that's what we do when we spend time doing things that we're not used to doing, or spending time around people that we're not used to being around. You reprogram yourself and you become a better robot.
That's right. Let's be better robots.
Yes.
But it looks beautifully done, and I hope it's good, because it's something I'd like to see. So the Wild Robot coming September 27th looks really good.
I love the title treatment, the way they did it in the
good. Oh yeah. Wait, real quick. Boom.
Yes.
Aw, it looks very, and I like it. They made it very almost old school, where the colors are desaturated. It looks very like you just see the warmth of the light from the robot's eyes lighting, and it's like kind of a darker.
Remember those children?
Yeah, it's exactly.
It has that vibe,
it does. It's really pretty, and they didn't make it big, action packed, show all the animals. They just kept it really intimate and cute, which is a nice poster. That's it. All right. Subscribe, like, and comment.
Absolutely, do that.
Do it.
Do it.
Bye,
everybody.